Welcome to the program. This is the Gavel. I am Benny Ark. In continuation of its budget defense sessions, officials from the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, as well as the Federal Inland Revenue Service, among other agencies, met with the Senate Committee on Appropriation. Here is the report.
The Senate Committee on Appropriation has met officials from the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, as well as the Federal Inland Revenue Service, among other agencies, in continuation of its budget defense sessions.
Consolidated revenue.
The legislators took up the Ministry of Finance and the process for the issuance of tax waivers as incentives, demanding a halt of the existing procedure for such grants.
We have to take bold decisions. When you talk about credit, tax credit, it's an expenditure, and it should go through the National Assembly. There's no two way about that. This tax credit, so look at these illegalities, remove them tomorrow, please. Then let's move ahead. Some people, few people are taking advantage of it. This tax credit that they collect for road, up to now they didn't do the roads.
We have also agreed on the issue of waivers. That one, all monies be paid to the coffers of the government, and people can now apply for rebates. And as you said, yes, we are in a transition period. That the provision that was made this year in this year's budget, for us, since it's a transition period, can we half it by reducing it?
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited NNPCL failed to show up for the second time for the hearing of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee probing over 11 trillion naira expenditure on turnaround maintenance of refineries in the country between 2010 and 2023. The absence of the CEO of the company at the resumed hearing stalled the efforts by the Senate panel to make progress on the matter. Interacting with the Ministry of Solid Minerals, whose major concern is funding for the acquisition of bankable data to attract investors, the legislators frowned at the low revenue target for the ministry at 12 billion naira. It was a turn of the Army on day 4 of the budget defense as the National Assembly Joint Committee on Army converged for the presentation of their 2024 budget proposal. The session started with the minute silence for victims of the Kaduna accidental bombing.
May the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace. Amen.
What happened in Tudumbiri, Igabi, local government area of Kaduna State on 3rd of December this year was an error that the leadership and every personnel of the Nigerian Army regrets, and we are working to ensure that that does not repeat itself going forward.
While presenting the 2024 budget proposal of the Nigerian Army, the Chief of Army Staff made a request.
Without mincing words, that the expansion of the Army has continued to impact significantly on the human resources and lean finances available to the Army High Command. This, therefore, calls for a review of the current envelope budgeting system. The envelope system leads to inadequate funding of the Nigerian Army for the performance of its constitutional duties.
Details of the budget proposals were discussed behind closed doors, which lasted several hours. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Senate Committee on the Army, Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua, has described the accidental drone attack that claimed the lives of scores of villagers as an honest mistake and should not warrant the resignation of the Chief of Army Staff. In an exclusive interview with Channels Television, Senator Yaradua, who instead commended the Chief of Army Staff for his admittance to the mistake, urged that peace be given a chance.
Those calling for his resignation should understand this is not. They shouldn't even talk about it. It's not about resignation. This is a man who has so much integrity and a practical officer whom has been commended even before becoming the Chief of Army Staff. So the talk about him resigning should not even arise. I think the Chief of Army Staff needs to be commended for what he did, for accepting responsibility. You know, mistakes in war happens like this. This is not the first time. You know, even outside there, you see America, United States, Europe, when they go to war, such mistakes happen, such collateral damage happen. So you wouldn't know, especially when you see a group of people, these people move under the cover of darkness in groups. So if you see such a large group, based on the intelligence they got, you know, they thought they were the ones.
In the meantime, at another session with the Nigerian Correctional Service, members of the Joint Committee on Interior frowned at the cost of feeding animals over humans at the center.
How much did you spend last year feeding dogs?
We have 800 per dog per day, and we have 900 dogs. Multiplied by 365.
According to you, you feed that innocent who is presumed innocent with 750 naira a day at 250 naira per meal. And then a dog, you feed the dog with at least 800 naira a day. So a dog is better fed in Nigeria prison than an innocent Nigerian who is held. It's a policy issue, whether it is the intention of government to appropriate more money to feed animals than to feed human beings. And that is a major policy issue for us. It is just that you didn't seem to have done your homework. You should have told us exactly what is it that, in your estimate, from your experience. And when you talk about your experience, remember that we are all in the same market. We expect you to speak more clearly. That is the only way we can help you. And we're not actually helping you. The intention is to provide some comfort to those people who, for no fault of theirs, most of the time, are detained because of the power of big men and big women who want to teach them a lesson. And because the government is unable to prosecute, they end up spending more time than they would have even done if they were convicted for the offense for which they are detained.
Officials of the Correctional Service then sought the assistance of the National Assembly to approve the increment for the feeding of inmates, who are totaling 81,354 nationwide and 53,352 awaiting trial.
Following an alleged attempt by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to forcefully take into custody former CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele, after an Abuja High Court had on Friday the 24th November 2023 granted him bail in the sum of 300 million naira. The House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions on Thursday sat over the petition. Let's take a look.
The House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions on Thursday sat over a petition alleging that after an Abuja High Court had on Friday, November 24, 2023, granted bail to former CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele in the sum of 300 million naira, while ruling that he be remanded in Kuje Correctional Center pending the fulfillment of the bail conditions. There was an attempt by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to forcefully take him into custody.
They are alleging case of contempt.
Counsel to the EFCC insisted that the matter was sub judice and Mr. Emefiele is still standing trial.
Mr. Godwin Emefiele is ably represented by very senior lawyers in this matter, including senior advocates of Nigeria. And this petition did not emanate from them. And in any event, we believe if the allegations have substance, as the petitioners would want this committee to believe, it would have been ventilated before the Honorable Court, before whom this case is pending, because they are alleging case of contempt. If it is a case of contempt, as it is being alleged, I thought the appropriate forum to ventilate that issue should be before the Honorable Court, rather than bring it before this committee, given the sub judice nature of this case.
The Center for Social Justice, Transparency and Equity alleges EFCC operatives were sighted at the Kuje Correctional Center, laying ambush to rearrest and forcefully whisk Mr. Emefiele away when he came out from the correctional center. But this was completely refuted by the Correctional Service.
We are not aware of any alleged attempt to forcefully release Dr. Emefiele. Emefiele is still in our custody, bubbling.
Okay. Petitioner, EFCC, Correctional Service, this matter is in court. We can't forge ahead with this matter because it's sub judice for us. This matter is hereby dismissed from this committee.
Meanwhile, various House committees have continued to hold inaugural sessions pledging proper oversight of MDAs.
The committee wishes to unequivocally state that the era where Nigerians abroad are treated as filth without commensurate response on the nationals of those nations are over.
We will, with the support of airline operators of Nigeria, the regulatory authorities, organize an high-tech stakeholders town hall meeting to look into the causes of the air crashes and other safety abnormalities at our various airports. The Committee of Aviation, in conjunction with the House Committee of Aviation Technology, will look into the controversy surrounding the Launch Nigeria Air project.
The House committees are further warning government officials against failing to appear before their budget defense. Meanwhile, as in the past, the absence of heads of ministries, departments and agencies was observed as the House commenced the budget defense sessions. Members of the House Committee on Electoral Matters, after waiting for over an hour for the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, appeared to have had enough.
It's rather unfortunate that the management of INEC is not yet here, and this is not a good way to start a new administration, not with the marching order given that by Mr. President, that he wants the budget speedily treated, and they've not been able to communicate, and that's make it even worse.
May I please leave your indulgence that from the chair, you use this medium to give INEC a definite date on when they should appear. And a warning.
We don't want to give another date in public now, and now find out that that day won't be visible. So let's go deliberate and look for another visible date. Yes, we know based on the time the budget was brought in and the time Mr. President wants it to be passed.
In the meantime, while some committees have commenced the budget defense, others continue to hold inaugural meetings.
We will closely scrutinize the Nigeria Customs revenue collection and remittance processes to ensure that all custom duties and levies are promptly accounted for and remitted into the Federation account. We must strive to balance the need for revenue collection with the facilitation of legitimate trade, while also ensuring that our borders remain impenetrable to illicit goods and activities.
In addition to providing substantial support to the blue economy, a sector that significantly contributes to our national revenue. Hence, it is imperative that we exercise our legislative oversight over the Navy's general activities and operations.
Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukayode, says the funds proposed in the 2024 budget for the Commission is insufficient to fight financial crime. The EFCC boss decried the envelope system of budgeting, which he says affects the Commission's effectiveness to investigate and prosecute offenders. Mr. Olukayode made the comments speaking to the House Committee on Financial Crime during the budget defense session of the Commission.
Give us what we call an envelope. Envelope defines what you can put in there and where you can go and how much you can put in your budget. Now, we work with the envelope given us. So it's like they have even predetermined what you are going to need by designing an envelope for you. Of course, that has been the system over the years. So we will take out the envelope, work within the confines of the envelope, and that's the essence of this interaction. And so we'll bring it before you, and we'll bring the reality, what we feel will be enough for us to operate as an agency. We also juxtapose it with the envelope. So we present it to you for your deliberations. And so what the 1.2 billion we saw there was the envelope given us from the budget office. But from the realistic aspect, point of view, what we think will be good for us to work, not to manage, as a distinguished member opined. Because if we manage to investigate and prosecute crimes.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Gavel. A first-of-its-kind citizens' town hall was held on Monday by the House of Representatives in preparation for the commencement of budget defense. Let's check it out.
In preparation for the commencement of the budget defense, the House of Representatives on Monday held a first-of-its-kind citizens' town hall to gather input for the 2024 budget. Chairman of the House Committee on Appropriations kicked off the event with assurances that submissions from the engagement will be taken seriously.
In exercising its powers of coordinating the appropriation process, the committee will always maintain an open-door policy to accommodate the interests of stakeholders in making the process more credible, people-oriented, and veritable instrument toward good governance.
Citizens have not had it this bad in recent times, so the expectation is that the National Assembly will do a very good job of trimming out the wastages. I think part of the problem with our national budget is that there are repetitions of wastages year in, year out.
The focus will be on strategic investment in defense, strategic investment in security, health, job creation, poverty reduction, food security, infrastructure development, and education, among other key factors.
A former appropriations chairman of the Senate emphasized on the power of appropriation bestowed on the National Assembly.
When you hear people saying padding is an embarrassment language, the executive led by Mr. President, in that section 81, stated that the president will bring forth estimates. What we have now is estimates of 2024 provision budget. The National Assembly, in their hearts, we give the Nigerian public, we give the president, everybody, the budget of the Federation.
The event is declared open by the Speaker as he harps on the importance of sustaining the initiative.
The House of Representatives has taken the lead in facilitating greater citizens' participation in budget process, and I challenge all MDAs to do the same. On our part, the House will review the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 to strengthen existing provisions, to improve access to information and public consultation during all phases of the budget. Specifically, we'll amend the FRA to require and define public participation explicitly in any budget engagements.
On appropriation.
Similarly, on Tuesday, the Senate held a stakeholders retreat on the 2024 appropriation bill.
Can we pass the budget in record time? A lot depends on the ministers, the MDAs, and the revenue spenders. If you don't come on time to defend your estimates, there is no way we can pass the budget on time. Plug the loopholes of leakages and wastages, and then bring more revenue so that the 2024 budget will become realistic.
It is very important that we all work together to ensure that we return this budget as soon as possible so that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria can sign it into law by 31st of December of this year, and it can come into operation from 1st of January of 2024.
It was a stark reminder of the nation's economic reality as the ministers, civil society, as well as the keynote speaker outlined areas of focus.
Nigeria's fiscal space is exhausted. And the solution, as you probably heard earlier today, is that we have to focus on the concessional funding. We use the financial markets to take the stress, our fiscal stress, down.
On Constituency Focus, we'll speak with Honorable Jafaru Leko, representing Bogoro, Das and Leko constituency of Bauchi State. He shares with us his action plan for his constituents.
My constituency is largely a rural area, and I know there are a lot of issues of infrastructures. Though my predecessor, Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, did excellently well, I could say now I'm entering a very big shoe, but by the grace of God, we are going to do well, because when we are seeking for support of the people, We went around the constituency. There are actually issues that has to do with infrastructure. There are a lot of farmers, and we also have issues of shortage of water. So by the grace of God, this December is going to be the first time I'm going to input my budget in the national budget. We see and try everything possible to ensure that we touch all these areas of infrastructure, especially the issues of water, the issues of even if not the full tight road, a feeder road, because a lot of our people are farmers, so that they can easily move out their, farm produce to where they can sell and make something for a living. So by the grace of God, issues of area of water, healthcare and agriculture, I will do everything possible, even though I know what I have in the budget is very meager compared to my predecessor, who was the Speaker of this House. So, but even at that, I'm not leaving anything, I'm doing everything possible to ensure that I have done something reasonable that my people will appreciate, because that is what we promise our people. And even before coming in, while I was in service, I'm doing a lot. So I know most of their problem, but what is there is that I cannot do what is not in the budget. But I'll do everything possible to ensure that something good goes down to my people. You know, there is a tradition or a law that each state has a particular budgetary allocation, and which is shared among the numbers of House of Representatives. In my own situation, unfortunately, in Bauchi State, we are 12, and what was given, when you divide it into 12, it will not go anywhere compared to when we have somebody who is a speaker representing that place. So that is why I'm looking at it as meager compared to what he, has. But, certainly we have to go out of our way to see how we can bring in something. Politics is all about lobby, all about relationship, and there are other, foreign aid that we could also use to see how they could assist us. Because in Bauchi State, I have the biggest federal constituency. It's only my constituency that has 3 local governments, and all the 3 local governments are very huge. So, but by the grace of God, we will see what we can do. We are lobbying. We are also using our friends. To me, what my people need most is water, because I know there are a lot of issues of water, and in almost all the places we went, people, brought up the issue of water. So I want to work seriously on water, on healthcare, and on agriculture, because most of my people are farmers. My constituency is an agrarian area. So I want to work hard. I want to put concentration of this water, healthcare, and agriculture. I think doing that will now reduce the pressure on them. And again, I know there is also issue of insecurity, which I believe has to do with poverty and what have you. I'm also doing, trying to do much on that, because I met the IG on that issue. I met the Commissioner of Police. I even was with the Director SSS. So, and I written to all of them, because there is unfolding issues of insecurity, especially in Das and Lere axis of Tafa Balewa, which is really, really disturbing me. I'm doing serious effort. I even met with the senator. The senator from my zone is in charge of national security and intelligence. Couple of times we met with him, and we are doing a lot on the ground.
That's our time on the program this week. Until the gavel comes your way next week, same time, I am Benny Ark. Be well.